Good morning, dear Bosconians, dear lay mission partners, Salesian educators, members of the Salesian family, and dear friends. I am here in the gymnasium of Don Bosco College, CANLUBANG, your home. And you know, one thing that we miss is your presence. We usually have our assemblies here, and then during lunch break and the merienda breaks, we see a lot of young people, our own Bosconians, moving about here. And you know, during this lockdown, the gymnasium has been like this, except for the times when the brothers and the seminarians come here for their games. And just to tell you, we're missing you a lot. And I'd like to tell you something about what we always see, or what we see in many of the Don Bosco schools in their gymnasiums. But I'd like to introduce it in this sense. This morning we were having our Holy Mass as a community, the Salesian community of Don Bosco College in our chapel. And the one who presided over the Mass was Father Paul Michael Suarez, our economer. And he was sharing about the memorial that we're celebrating today, about Saint Philip Neri. And something that he remembers very well is that he was always going to the parish dedicated to this saint. It's in Mandaluyong, at the end of Boni Avenue. You would find it there, the parish of San Felipe Neri. And he was going there as a youth, even as a child. And now even as a priest, he was going there to celebrate Holy Mass. And one time he saw something very special, that on the right side he saw the statue of Don Bosco. And of course he came to know that the parish priest was a Bosconian of Don Bosco, Makati. And they were sharing notes, and Father Paul was telling the priest, the parish priest, that Don Bosco, St. John Bosco, took a lot of his spirituality from Saint Philip Neri. Saint Philip Neri was a priest in Rome. And you know the congregation that he founded? It is the Congregation of the Oratory. And what was this oratory? What was this group? So it's a work that was among the poor and the sick of Rome. And so it led him to decide to become a priest, that work that he was doing. After ordination in 1551, he talked about his ministry whenever he met someone new and urged people to join him. And therefore, as I said, he founded the oratory. And what was that? A community of men who gathered together under Philip's leadership to pray, sing, and discuss their faith. And this concept Don Bosco took. And of course, he named his work also the Oratory, based on the work of Saint Philip Neri. Oratory actually means a place of prayer. And Don Bosco transformed it, translated it, to be for the young people that he was guiding. And you see, there's a trivia. You would see in many of our gymnasiums, as I was telling you, this adage that has become very common among the Salesians, which you find there in front of you, no? As we do our assembly. You would not miss it. Run, jump, make noise, do not sin. When I was a student in Don Bosco Tarlac, it was also very clear there in the gymnasium, which I think is still there right now, although of course the letterings have changed. Run, jump, make noise, just avoid sin. Actually, it's attributed to Don Bosco. He popularized it, but you know, the source of that, he got it from Saint Philip Neri, who said, "Do as you wish. I do not care so long as you do not sin." Let's bring this into our minds, that wherever we are, whether we are here enjoying ourselves, whether you're there at home, maybe doing games or activities among yourselves, there's always that joy. But then, always in our own consciousness, we do our utmost to avoid offending God. And regarding the characteristic of Saint Philip Neri, he was a saint who was famous for being cheerful. That's why in today's prayer, what do we read in the opening prayer for the Mass? Lord, keep us always cheerful in our work for the glory of your name and the good of our neighbor. And it is very much a description of who Saint Philip Neri was. So what do we learn from celebrating this memorial? What does the life of Saint Philip Neri teach us? It teaches us to be optimistic and hopeful. Even though we have this situation of the pandemic, there's reason to be cheerful also. Why? Because the Lord continues giving His graces amidst all of this. The second thing is to be hopeful. We do not lose hope. And then we are called to share the good news of Jesus with love and joy. Very much part of our spirituality, where we have optimism and joy, which we have here in Don Bosco. And I'd like to greet you all. Have a good day. And Ma'am Bernadette Salonga would like to extend these announcements that the senior high school completion of tasks would be until May 29. And then for everybody, being a Bosconian continues even in this situation. So online registration for all levels would be from June 1 to 23. At the same time, for the college students, some words from your dean, Ma'am Jen Silao. June 22 would be the beginning of the third term. In view of looking also into the new school year, the first term for college, which will be shortly after the opening of the BED. And if the third term for college would end in August, on September, also on September, we would begin the first term for the new academic year for college. But stay tuned for our announcements, especially for what we're going to offer for this coming year, for all levels, for you, dear Bosconians. And have a great day. God bless you all.